then Forrest was like really taking her time with things, and we had like a bit of a drive ahead of us to go pick the lads up from the airport. Like it was gonna take like a while to get there. And I was like, we should probably head over there soon. And she's like, oh, it'll be fine. Or she was like, wait, why? And I was like, well, we've got to go to Orlando. And she's like, oh shit, I thought it was another place. We got in the car, we drove, I played my pussy popping music, which she always laughs at me because I know all the words to it, and I know more pussy popping music than she usually does. And I'll be like, have you heard this new song? I'm out of town thugging with my round, my coochie pink, my booty hole brown. And she's like, no. And I'm like, let me play it for you. So we listened to those things. So then it was like mega fucking raining when we got closer to the airport. Like really super bad. So it was making it like it was taking us even longer to get there. So we were scheduled to get there like 15 minutes after their flight landed, basically. And she was like, should we just like pull up and tell them to get in the car? And I was like, no, like let's go inside and get them. Like maybe they'll be confused, because last year when I had to pick Pedguin up, it took them like an hour to get out of the airport and like to where I could pick them up. So me and Forrest got there. We walked over to the gate that they were coming from, and they were walking out at the same time. So we basically got there right as they got out. We see Lewis, and Lewis goes, look at this. And he holds out his iPad, and it is fucking destroyed. The glass on it is shattered, and there's bits of glass falling out as he holds it up. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so he goes, I'm just gonna bin this. It's destroyed, and I factory reset it. So he throws his iPad in the bin at the fucking airport as soon as we see him. That is Forrest's first actual impression of Lewis, is him binning his iPad because it was destroyed. Now, it was not just the screen that was destroyed, like the button on the bottom, because I think it was an older one that still had a button. The button was gone from it. The glass was shattered, and the iPad itself was bent. When Lewis got on the airplane, he put the iPad down the side of the seat that he was sitting in. And 10 minutes later, after the flight took off, 10 minutes into the flight, Lewis moved his chair and crushed it. And there was glass everywhere. It had a case on it, but it was like a nice, nice little case, you know? So he had downloaded television shows, he had downloaded books, he had like a bunch of shit on there to do during the flight, and he crushed it 10 minutes into the flight, he said. He had to eat the iPad to survive. Well, Lewis is like, so Lewis is also gluten-free and vegan now, which does not always have a ton of overlap with each other. So Lewis put on his like flight thing that he was vegan, I think. And so everything that they brought him was still gluten or chickpeas, and Lewis doesn't eat chickpeas because they upset his tummy. So basically, I don't think he ate anything on the flight and all of these things, but at least he got to lay down. The flight was about like 9 hours or so, I think. So all of that happens to Lewis. Meanwhile, Pedguin is in the normal guy area, and Pedguin goes to sleep. He has some nice food, and the only thing I can't remember if it was the flight, I think it was the flight back, the only thing Pedguin said was there was like 2 people next to him, and he just didn't ask to get up, I think. I don't know. So Lewis didn't seem like he had the greatest flight experience. Pedguin seemed like his was fine, right? So Forrest's first like encounter with Lewis is Lewis being like, hi, sorry, I just need to throw away my iPad real quick. Which I was fucking losing my mind. And then Cue my two worlds colliding. Before we got there, I was like, Forrest, they sound so much more British in real life. It's really funny. Like, they're so fucking British. And she was like, oh yeah. So we got them. They sounded British as hell. They're like, hello, we're here. Blah, blah, blah. And we're like giggling. I'm like, look how British they are. Forrest gives Lewis a hug, which breaks my brain to see my friend that I've known for like, how long? Since probably like 2007? How many years is that? Like, how many years is that? I don't even fucking know. 16 years! I was probably like 16. Oh my god, that's like half of my life. I've known Forrest for half of my life right now at this moment. I feel something's wrong. I'm having a crisis. Then we drove from the hotel. Forrest was driving, and she was driving this big fucking car, this huge SUV. We put little Pedguin and little Lewis in the back seat, and I sat up front with Forrest, and I was playing My Coochie Pink, My Booty Hole Brown, and Lewis was you know that gif of Smithers being danced on by the strippers? That was Lewis like the entire trip that he had to deal with me and Forrest. That's what it felt like. That, when I imagine Lewis dealing with me and Forrest at the same time, I can probably put this on the screen. It was on regular television. This is Lewis dealing with me and Forrest. This is exactly what I imagined every, like, fucking second that he had to deal with the two of us. Luca, thanks so much for the 18 months. This is what was happening. Because Lewis is just, like, sat in the back with my music that is, like, talking about, like, I was listening to Tyler, the Creator. He's, like, talking about eating. Basically, all of my songs are either about someone who talks about eating pussy or someone who talks about getting their pussy ate. And I embrace it. I love that fucking kind of music. I think it's great.